Unreal. All right. A lot of people think that the first time homebuyer program is a long drawn out process, and it doesn't really have to be. As a first time homebuyer program, you have first time homebuyer, you have a number of different programs and resources available to you, classes, um, down payment assistance programs. There's a lot of stuff out there available for first time homebuyers. Some first time homebuyer programs do require you to take the class. All right. And there's nothing wrong with taking the class. If the class is going to give you a lot of different information as far as like budgeting, um, credit management, all of that stuff. So if you can take the class, I would say go take the class. Um, First time homebuyer loans are designed to get owner occupied buyers into a home with a lower cost of entry, meaning you're going to get the lower down payment. Down payments range from 0 to 10%, depending on the program, depending on your situation. In most cases, first time homebuyer loans, you can get a first time homebuyer loan even with a minimal credit score. Because because the loan requirements have the low cost of entry, most uh, first time homebuyer loans will require you to have PMI, which is mortgage insurance. All right. So the Federal Housing Administration is the probably the most popular loan. That's the one you know, most people qualify for. It's owner occupied. So you could go single family all the way up to a four family condos. The condo association has to be FHA approved. So the condos can get a little tricky. Um, my lenders are going to kill me for this. FHA actually doesn't have a minimum credit score requirement, but most lenders will not touch it unless you have like a 580. 620 is that sweet spot. So it's like the lower the credit score, the more stipulations they're going to put on that loan. And like I said, a lot of lenders won't touch you under a 580. So you got to get up to 580. I think 620 is that sweet spot, entry level to get in the game. Of course, the higher your credit score, the better. Um, Down payments on an FHA loan could be starts at 3.5% down. Take your purchase price, multiply it by 3.5%. That gives you your down payment. It can go up to 10%, again, meaning if you come in with a lower credit score, that's one of the stipulations that you got to put more money down. All right. You can also get up to 6% seller concessions to help with closing costs, otherwise known as a closing cost credit with FHA. The the seller has to agree to that as well. So it's not like you're just going to get 6%. The seller has to agree to whatever number that is. You can get more information here at the HUD website. Again, FHA is the Federal Housing Administration. It's a government program. There's a lot of info here about they help with also people that already have mortgages going into pre foreclosure. You can get counseling. Again with the classes, HUD certified classes. So check that out. All right. The next one is the Fannie Mae Home Ready. All right. So this is owner occupied again, single family. The website says single family, but I recall closing a multifamily with this 3% down program. And this is also a conventional loan as opposed to the FHA loan. All right. Minimum 640 credit score to get in this. One of the borrowers on the application, at least one, has to take the home buying class. They actually have a class on their website that I hear is fairly quick. I haven't taken the class, but my clients have. So there's a small little video course that you can take on their website in order to qualify for this loan. All right. So we're going to talk about some of the differences between the conventional and the FHA later on in the program. And but there is some major differences, but this is definitely a conventional loan, 3% down, 640 credit score to get in. All right. You can go to their website as well, Home Ready. Fannie Mae is also a government product. Excuse me. Fannie Mae is also a government product. A lot of these programs, they go off of what you call your debt to income ratio, your DTI, and depending on where you fit, what your DTI is, or determine which one of these loans you'll qualify for. But they go through all of that on the website. You can check it out. All your lenders, so you don't have, even though you have this website, you can get this information. All of the lenders have access to all of these programs. All right, so you can definitely go through the lenders. Like I said, if you want my list of lenders, type lender in the chat, and I'll send you my list. This one right here is the Department of Veteran Affairs, otherwise known as the VA loan. Shout out to all my vets. Thank you for your service. So this loan is for qualified vets. Owner occupied loan, minimum 500 to 620 to get in. No down payment, 100% financing. I also just found out from one of my lenders that you can pair this up with Chaffa, which is a third party down payment assistance program or first time homebuyer program, and they'll pay up to 105%, meaning they'll go 5% over whatever the purchase price is, 5% over the loan to value, which can help cover the closing costs as well. All right. So again, shout out to all my vets. Thank you for your service. And you get more information here at the VA website. Also, I found out if you are a spouse of a vet, you get to take advantage of these same benefits as well, as far as the VA loan goes. All right, this one right here is my sleeper. This is my down low, my DL loan right here. This is the U.S. Department of Agriculture, otherwise known as the USDA loan. It's an owner occupied, minimum 640 to get in, zero down payment, 100% financing. The property must be located in a rural area. All right. There's a map that defines where these rural areas are in your state. Okay. The system wouldn't let me pull this map up right now, but I could tell you that if you're familiar with, we're in Connecticut. So if you're familiar with Connecticut, you have I-95 running, east to west, or west to east down in the bottom of the state. You have 91 running up the state. It seems like those areas away from the two highways are considered rural areas. All right. So Guilford, I closed the USDA in Guilford, North Branford, even like out near that Quasi area. But it's away from the highway. But you can search for the USDA. I'll put it in the comments once I get off. But you can search for the USDA map, and it'll tell you exactly where these rural areas are. But that's my sleeper right there. The Freddie Mac Home Possible. So this is another conventional loan, another government product. It's got to be owner occupied, minimum 660 credit score, 3 to 10% down. With 20% equity, you can get your PMI removed. They'll just cancel it. You don't have to refinance. That's what's cool about this loan. And also, I don't know if you remember or if you paid attention a couple months back, I think it was November or right around November, the internet went crazy about being able to purchase multifamilies with this 5% conventional loan. So to my understanding, from what I heard from my lenders, prior to this change, you would have to purchase a multifamily, either FHA or with 10 to 15% down conventional. So now, they're saying that you can use this Freddie Mac Home Possible with 5% down to purchase a multifamily. I've had clients use this loan with this, and once they establish 20% equity, because the market is appreciating, You make repairs to the property, you boost the property's value, and you're paying down your mortgage, so you're creating that equity. Once you get the 20% equity loan to value, you can call them and they'll take it off. They actually called my client and just took it off, um, I believe. So this is a cool product to get you in the game and then get rid of that PMI. That PMI payment, depending on the purchase price, that could be $200, $300 on your mortgage, that you can get taken off. If you buy the house right, if you make the right moves, you can get that taken off and save some money. All right. All of these loans require PMI until you get at least 20% equity. The FHA loan, you got to refinance out of it in order to get rid of the PMI. FHA is PMI as long as you have that loan. All right. Whether that's 20% down or, like I said, if you build it through appreciation, paying down your mortgage. All of these loans are also going to have different requirements based on condition. All right. So when you purchase a home, you're going to have a home inspection, hopefully, but the bank is definitely going to do an appraisal. That is their time to come out and do an inspection on the property. So FHA and VA are probably the most stringent when it comes to doing those appraisals and the conditions of the property. The big thing with FHA is chip and paint, GFI outlets. Those are those outlets with the little test button in the middle. Handrails, safety issues. They look at the roof. Also, I got a list of all of the things that they look at. All right. The VA loan is even stricter. You know what I mean? That VA that house got to be immaculate for VA to approve it. If these things don't happen, you don't own the house yet, so we put that responsibility on the seller to make those repairs. All right, with with these two loans. If you go conventional, they do have a list of, hey, good morning, Lonzo. They do have a conventional. They do have their own set of things that they look for as well, but it's not as tough as this. You have four walls and a roof, you probably pass conventional. I'm just kidding. I'm exaggerating, but it's not as definitely not as bad as FHA or VA. Or I don't want to say bad. We'll say strict. We'll say strict. FHA, Freddie, Fannie, all allow you to get down payment assistance from third parties. All right. So I'll break it down to you like this. Before all of these loan programs, you traditionally had to purchase a home with a conventional mortgage at 20% down. All right. So the government steps in, or these people step in and they say, listen, we want to be able to sell more homes to people that don't have 20% down and don't have 700, 800 credit scores. So they created these programs. So in a sense, do you work with Annie Mac lenders? I've never heard of Annie Mac lenders, and I'm sure you're gonna enlighten me. But so traditionally you would have had to qualify that way. So they created these programs with a lower cost of entry. But you got a whole PMI. So these are, I don't want to say these are down payment assistance programs, but they're first time home buyer programs that help with the down payment, which is why 3.5%, is it's low as it is. But you can now go on top of that with some third party down payment assistance programs, and we're gonna go over those right now. Connecticut Housing Finance Authority, which is CHFA. Okay, CHFA is a state program, program just in our state. All right, they offer a lower interest rate, and they do offer down payment assistance. Okay, I think CHFA is a great program. But CHFA also goes by your debt to income ratio. So depending on where your debt to income ratio falls will determine whether or not you get approved through CHFA. But it's a great program if you can get in. All right. The other one, which is pretty popular, is Neighborhood Housing Assistance Corporation of America, otherwise known as NACA. All right, NACA, you do have to take a 8-hour class. You get a caseworker. They actually help with credit repair, budgeting, all of that stuff, from beginning to end. All right, NACA, from what I understand, the process, it does take a little bit longer because they go through all of those things with you. So it could take a couple of months before you get to, well, it depends on your situation, obviously. But they actually go through everything. So it's a little uh more in depth of a process. But NACA is actually national. They're everywhere. I know people that use NACA in Philly, Delaware, North Carolina, South Carolina, and even here in Connecticut. They have an office here in Connecticut. If you want more information on that, I can give you I'll put the link to the website in there. You have to book a information session. I think they're doing it online now, but you used to have to go to a meeting. It's like a couple hours course, get information session, and then they get you set up with your caseworker and get on your way. All right. Locally, we have the Yale Homebuyer Program. So there's two. What I found out is there's two Yale Homebuyer programs. If you work for the hospital, they have a program. If you work for the university, they have their own program. All right. The hospital actually pays their workers back, to my understanding. So, but you also have to purchase a home on their approved streets and their approved neighborhoods. All right. Which is predominantly in New Haven. They'll give you a list of streets. If you're interested in that program, you could go to HR, and they'll give you a list of those streets. I think they're listed online as well. The university, I don't know too much about the university program other than the fact that I had two clients go in there, tell HR they was buying a home, and then they came out with checks. That's all I know. We had to send them the purchase application. I mean, the purchase contract. And then Yale funded a portion of their down payment, which was awesome. Livable City Initiative. So their program is similar. I'm going to say similar to the way CHAFA is. You have to get approved by your lender first. You got to get approved by your lender first. Once you go through the process with your lender, then they send you off to CHAFA or the Livable City. And same thing, they have like debt to income requirements. They also have household income requirements. There's a chart that they use that basically says, okay, if there's one person in your house, this is the max you can make. If there's two people in your house, this is the max you can make, combined, income. So you got to qualify for those programs. Livable City is definitely a New Haven based program. You got to buy in New Haven in order to use that. All right. So also there's other programs in other towns. West Haven has one that I've used. Hamden has one that I use. So depending on where you live, we could probably pinpoint to see if that town has a program that you can use. Most towns have them, especially the bigger towns. But if that doesn't work, you can always try CHAFA or something like that. All right. Where we at? Down payment assistance programs can come in the form of loans or grants, right? Some loans are forgivable, after a certain amount of time. So it's like after 5 years, is like normal. You hold the loan down. It'll go on as a second. It looks like a second loan, right? And there's probably a payment on it. But after 5 years, it could be forgivable on some programs. Grants, obviously, you don't have to pay back, but they do have stipulations on those grants as well. You probably got to stay in the home for 5 years, and all of that stuff. So depending on the program will determine, what those stipulations are. All right. Yep. So like I just said, down payment assistance programs have may have stipulations, income limitations, location restrictions, DTI restrictions, length to occupancy. You check with your lender for more info. All right. So with all that being said, if you want to take advantage of down payment assistance, you may be required to take a class. To my knowledge, don't quote me on this 100%, but I think FHA is probably the only one that you don't have to take a class on. I think all the other ones you got to take a little class. Some require it, some don't, but there are a lot of benefits to taking a class. Like I said, budgeting, credit, how to prepare yourself if your boiler breaks, how to set money aside. Like they go through all of that stuff. It's It's cool. I definitely recommend taking a class. I'm actually trying to build my own class right now, so I'll keep y'all posted on that. And they even offer course to new landlords as well. So if you're looking to get in the game and buy your first 3-family, you can take a class as well. And the HUD certified classes, you need to take a class by a HUD certified counselor. And I believe they're all free. I don't think they cost. So you can look at the schedule, book a course, and then just simply go take it. I know that they neighborhood housing in New Haven, I believe they have their classes every Saturday. They may have some during the week, but I know some agents in my office were going there every Saturday to get to teach the class. If you want a list of all the HUD consultants, here, go to I got a list of them. Go to my website, gerardgibson.com/HUD, and get a list of all the HUD consultants in the area. I got a list of all the ones that are in the state of Connecticut. All right. So you got to prepare yourself. The more knowledge you have, the better. I feel like I'm a good teacher as far as this goes. I try to educate my clients. I try to teach them everything I know. So, they know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen before it actually happens. And that's always been my goal. I got a lot of clients that are now agents on my team. You know what I mean? just because I try to educate as much as possible, but education is key. Again, I was able to kind of build my business, my claim to fame by just showing people that are, looking for apartments. These apartments are expensive out here. The rents are up and with no sight of going down right now. So, the same rules always apply, man. If you're going to pay $2,500 and $2,300 in rent, you might as well just pay yourself. You might as well buy yourself. I did a video. It's on my YouTube. I don't think I posted on Facebook. Follow me on YouTube at Gerard Gibson. I did a video about some foreclosures that were up in Hamden. There was, at the time, there was 3 foreclosures and they were sitting on the market. I think they all gone now. But this was like last month. But there was 3 foreclosures sitting on the market for a while. And, the first reaction, obviously, is you walk in these places and, they're beat up. And you're like, listen, I don't want to, like, nobody wants to deal with that. Everybody wants the same thing. We want granite countertops, stainless steel appliances. But there's an opportunity where these properties are on the market for $200,000 or less, right? So, yeah, there might be a little bidding war. We'll talk about bidding wars as well. But you could get in those properties. You get money from these first-time homebuyer programs that actually make the repairs, all right? You get a good contractor that knows the system. I got contractors as well. You get a good contractor that knows how to work with the bank, and you fix the properties up, and then even if the properties are worth 300, those properties are probably worth close to 300. They're selling them under 2, right? So if it costs you 50,000-60,000 to fix them up, by the time you're done, you're going into the game with $40,000 in equity. You know what I mean? Getting yourself closer to removing that PMI, or if something happens and the market tanks or whatever, or you got to sell, you got equity where you can cash out, on that investment. So I just want to encourage more people to look at, deals like that, properties like that. This is Connecticut. In Connecticut, we don't have the luxury. It's not like Charlotte, North Carolina, where, they're building houses every single day. You know what I mean? Here, there's a little bit of new construction, but the new construction is $400,000 or $500,000 to get in. It's expensive. So here we're dealing with, I think Connecticut's real estate boom was like around between the 30s and the 50s. So a lot of these houses are from the 30s and the 50s. So these houses are old. So you gotta, it's not that they're, beat up and, unusable or whatever. You gotta update them. You gotta update them. You gotta do the work. So you get the money from the first time home buyer loans to do that. All right. Um, any questions you have, please put them in the chat. I can see I'm live on Instagram. I'm live on Facebook. I'm live on YouTube. Shout out to everybody that came to hang out with me this morning. Any questions, I can see them in the chat. I'll answer any questions you may have. Lonzo put the Annie Mac. Is that a government program? Work with them when I was in New York. I'm gonna share this with people. Yeah, I'll definitely look into that. We'll have a discussion about that next time for sure. Um, but yeah, so if you know anybody that is looking to buy, I actually just started a Facebook group as well. For first time home buyers, so I can be able to deliver information consistently, and the videos will be stored there. If you ever want to learn and go through, if you want access to that group, let me know. Just type in the chat Facebook group, and I'll get that off for you. um what else? I had a whole list of stuff I wanted to talk about. I had too much stuff I wanted to talk about. The other thing is, we're in 2024. We're in a seller's market. We've been in a seller's market for a while. I've had my license for 8 years. And for a while, it was like every summer we were dealing with bidding wars. You know what I mean? We're dealing with, multiple offer situations, which we call bidding wars. And so I've been dealing with these, since I started. So in 2024 is going to be, no different. During, COVID 2021, that's when it really went crazy. A lot of bidding wars and things like that. I don't think the bidding wars are going to be as crazy as it was then, but you're still going to find yourself in multiple offer situations. All right. So the tough part about the multiple offer situations is, let's say you got 10 buyers trying to purchase one home. It's not like a auction where what everybody's bidding, and you could beat them out by $1. You could beat them out, by $1,000 or whatever. You know where to bid. And these multiple offer situations, because the listing agent has fiduciary relationship with the seller, they can't tell you where the bids are. They can't tell you the seller's business, right? So you kind of in theory, you go into this thing kind of blind. All right. So the way you combat that is, well, one of the ways. You have to establish value on the property. Okay. You have to understand what the property is worth. So everybody says, listen, I'm not paying over asking price. All right. And that's, the asking price is a setup. It's like, I don't want to use the word setup, but real estate agents list properties underneath the value, just to create a deal, just so it looks like a deal. And then everybody sees this deal, and then everybody to put in an offer on that deal, right? So once you establish value and you can see that, okay, this house is worth 500,000, but they listed it at 400. You get what I'm saying? So would you pay 450 for a house that's worth 500,000? Would you pay 250 for a house that's worth 300? You know what I mean? So you got to establish value. Once you establish value, you can figure out where you be now. Where you want to be. But I don't suggest anybody pay over a home's value. You know what I mean? But the asking price is different. I think the asking price is a setup, and your agent is going to have to establish value. You know what I mean? I send my clients, if you tell me you like a property, I run a report, I send you the report so you can see everything that I'm seeing, and then we establish value from there. So based off of that, I want to put my offer here. You know what I mean? I do have a formula that I use that I'm pretty successful with, in these multiple offer situations. And ultimately it's up to you, it's up to the client on what you're comfortable with. I tell my clients all the time, if you put this offer in and you win it, I don't want you to wake up in the morning like, oh, I think I bid too much, you know or you put the offer in and you lose. I don't want you to feel like, yo, good morning, teacher. Good morning, Denasia. You put the offer in and you found out you lost it. I don't want you to feel, oh, I should have bid $5,000 more. So you'll see on a lot of these listings, when you look them up, it's like highest and best and final. You just got to put your best foot forward in some cases, and let the chips fall where they may. If you're not willing to pay this, and then this is where the house sold, then so be it. It wasn't for you. You know what I mean? You gotta have thick skin, move on. Let's go check out the next one. You know, in a buyer's market where buyers have a lot of options, buyers have leverage in a buyer's market. In a seller's market, the sellers have leverage. So you gotta try to get the leverage on your side, which is extremely hard. Um, which is extremely hard in a seller's market. Do you suggest putting a lot of earnest money down? What's a lot? I don't know what a lot is, but I can tell you that the earnest money does. It matters. You get what I'm saying? It does matter. Um, I definitely have a limit on that. Like, you know what I mean? So a lot of like I've seen people. Okay, if let's say the house is 300,000. All right, your FHA 3.5% down. Your down payment is 10,500. I've seen people put up 10,500 because the idea behind that is the fact that you got to put that money down anyway. You know what I mean? Like when it closes, you got to bring that to the table anyway. So I've seen people do that. I don't recommend that. So I mean, if that's your question, no. Um, in the state of Connecticut, earnest money deposit can be anything from $1. You know what I mean? They call it, the attorneys call it consideration, right? So it could be anything from $1 and up. But the rule of thumb is 1 to 2%, right? So then from there, you might be, you know, in the bidding war. If you know if that's what you have for leverage, then you might have to use it to your advantage. You might have to go a little bit higher than a 1 or 2%. But putting down the whole down payment, no, no. And my cash guys, you know, my investors, I don't want to say they don't care, but you know, they're a little bit more flexible. So you know, I've done deals where, you know, there's a $10,000-15,000, you know, earnest money deposit or whatever. So, you know, it definitely depends on the buyer and depends on you know, what they can handle. Um, but yes, the earnest money deposit definitely helps create leverage, you know, definitely helps swing things in your favor. Also your terms, right? The other terms of the contract, the inspection, which is why, you know, a lot of people are waiving inspections to get in on these houses as well. Your dates, your mortgage contingency date, how soon can you close? All of those things kind of shift the leverage over to you. So if you're in a bidding war and you can close in 3 weeks or 2 weeks, or whatever, that definitely swings the leverage in your favor. Okay. Um, your pre-approval. Let's talk about that. So again, I'm not a lender. I'm just giving it to you how I get it. Right. So this is what I found out. This is what I learned. Any lender can issue you a pre-approval. You could call a lender right now. You could tell a lender, yeah, I make 100,000 a year. Um, you know, my student loan debt is this, my car note is this, whatever. Okay, based off of that information, you pre-approve for here. Here's your letter. You pre-approve for this amount. Here's your letter. You could go out and shop. All right. So then they come to an agent and they say, "Here's my pre-approval letter." All right. You have to be careful with those pre-approval letters, and I'm saying that to say you want to make sure that your lender is pulling your credit, hard pulls, not the soft pull mess. Okay. That's another thing. You know, when people trying to buy houses, they work so hard to, you know, get their credit score, maintain their credit, a lot of pride in their credit. And I understand. And they're like, yo, I don't want to take a hard pull because I don't want it to lower my credit score. Listen, it's the cost of doing business. Like you have to get it pulled. You have to you be ready now as opposed to having to deal with that later, and then you get that hard pull later and come to find out there's something up there that might hinder you from closing, and now your earnest money deposit is on the line. You see what I'm saying? You want to get all of this stuff done up front, right? So you want to make sure the lenders does a hard pull on your credit. You want to submit all of your documentation, meaning your pay stubs, your bank statements, and your W-2s are the most important. You know, any income that you may have, you know, that you're going to use in order to qualify, you're going to want to submit those documents ASAP, right? So My lenders are pretty good. Me and my guy Lloyd, we started. Well, Lloyd does what they call a power bid at his company. It's called a power bid. That's when we take all of this information, put it submit it to the underwriter, okay, and let the underwriter put the stamp on it. So they start asking you these questions up front. They start making you do certain things and submit certain things up front, where a regular, pre-approval, you wouldn't do that until after you got a property under contract, right? So with the power bid, you get all of that stuff done up front. And so now once you do find that property and you get it under contract, the only thing you need is like appraisal. And it might take 7 days for an appraiser to come out, do the appraisal, depending on the schedule, right? Do the appraisal, uh, submit the appraisal to the bank. The bank has to review it, and then from there, if there's no other outstanding documents, you get a clear to close. So we actually got a clear to close in like 3 weeks with a FHA loan, which is crazy. Just because the buyer and the lender did all of the work up front. All right. So when we talk about leverage in these bidding wars and things like that, you can actually use that as leverage. Like, listen, this is a fully underwritten pre-approval. You want a fully underwritten pre-approval. All right, going into 2024, do not hit these streets. Do not go out there in this market without a fully underwritten pre-approval. That's my gem for you. Get a fully underwritten pre-approval. I guarantee rate they have uh a name for it. They call it, they market it as called a power bid. Now also, with a regular pre-approval, you can get that, like I said, in less than 24 hours, in a matter of minutes. The power bid, the fully underwritten pre-approval, it might take 48 hours. It might take a day or two, but it's okay because we know we're going to be able to go out there and buy with confidence, and we could shift that leverage into our favor so that when we get in those bidding wars, we look better. We almost look as good as a cash offer, with a with a power bid. So um definitely a recommendation, if you're out here shopping, is get a fully underwritten pre-approval. Now I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm not tooting my own horn. If y'all know me, I'm a very humble soul. But who your agent is can also swing a little leverage into your favor. You know what I mean? So, I've been doing this for 8 years. I've done a lot of over 200 homes. Some people sold more, but 200 homes is that's a lot for me. So, but with that, I've developed a lot of relationships with people, and they know that I close. I was taking this class, and the class was basically teaching us as agents to know your numbers, right? Where your clients come from. Uh, Once you get those clients in your system, how many of them close, whatever, right? So after calculating, I'm like, once I get you pre-approved, and no, hold on, let me change that. Once we get you under contract to purchase a property, we're gonna close, right? So my numbers show that I got a 96% close rate. Now, it might, it's like, what's the big deal? The point is these agents know that when I submit an offer, we're going to close. I can count on one hand how many transactions I had that we couldn't close for whatever reason. People are human, things happen, misunderstandings, whatever. um so I could count on one hand in 8 years how many deals that I couldn't close based off of being under contract and something happening with the financing. All right. So that creates leverage in itself as well. You know what I mean? So a lender knows that, okay, if they accept my offer, the price could be lower, my terms could be better or whatever, but they know this guy's going to close. You know what I mean? So leverage, you got to try to establish leverage um, in order to help, navigate through these bidding wars and all of that type stuff. All right. Um, that's an A+ in my book. Right. Right. Angela said 96%. That's an A+ in my book. Right. So, yeah, I pride myself on that, man. Trying to, again, educating the clients, trying to prepare them. to get through this process. You know, a lot of people, I don't know if you heard this before, but once you get a pre-approval, once you get under contract, don't do nothing. You got to pay your bills. You got to live life, right? You got to live life, but no crazy cash transactions in the bank account. Don't go buy a cell phone because they're gonna pull your credit. You know what I mean? Don't go. Everybody gets excited when they get that house under contract. We done made it past inspection, appraisal. We right there getting ready to get that clear to close. I'm going to Raymore and Flanagan and Jordan's to get that credit card so I can buy some furniture. No, 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 no. Don't do it. One of my lenders taught me a long time ago. He goes, buying a home is the most expensive purchase you'll ever make. The second most expensive purchase is buying the furniture. Like, you're gonna be there for 20 years, so you're gonna keep buying furniture. I thought that was pretty dope. But you know, people get anxious and they want to go to get the furniture. You start buying stuff. You get excited, but you gotta sit still in that process. Just chill. Just chill. You can't take out and open the loans. What you can get is with a lot of these first time home buyer loans, you can get gifts. So let's say you come up short, you're short $1,000 because of the closing costs. We need to talk about closing costs. Nobody ever talks about closing costs. But you can get a gift from a family member. All right. In order to catch up. So don't take out no loans. Don't do anything. Um, Lonzo said, happened to me. I got approved and I put an extra 2,000 in my bank account. Yep. And they shut it down. Hey, where'd this come from? Where the money has to be sourced. It's got to come from, it's got to come from somewhere. You know, no cash under the mattress. No cash under the mattress. I just had a transaction with a lady that she actually sold some items. She knew she was getting ready to, move. So she did like a little tax, not a tax show, but like Facebook Marketplace, offer up type stuff. So she was able to sell some stuff. She sold, a couple $1,000s worth of stuff, like, and put the money in the account. They're like, hey, where does money come from? So what saved her was the fact that we was able to show that she sold this stuff, um, at a tag sale or whatever, a garage sale, in order to use those funds to close the transaction. So yes, it gets tricky. It gets tricky. No cash under the mattress. Um, Listen, I know I'm like I said, I'm a licensed real estate agent. I'm not a lender, but I've always been drawn to the money. Like I'm always been trying to figure out the lending process and trying to gain as much knowledge as I possibly can on the lending process. So that's why I'm passionate about this stuff. I focus a lot on the lending side. But once I'm always asking my lenders questions. Why is this like this? Why is this happening? What does this mean? Da 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 da. And then that's how I learn. And then everything I learn, I'm able to, regurgitate to y'all. But yeah, shout out to everybody that joined me this morning. I'ma holler at you about collateral assignment. Listen, Lonzo, I'm gonna have I think Wednesday, this Wednesday or next Wednesday, I'm gonna have my attorney on a live, one of my attorneys, Joette Trin. She's dope. She's actually doing uh, a women's seminar about creative financing and investing strictly for women. But she is a dope resource and she understands a lot of different creative financing options. And I think you would love that. I think you're going to be able to bounce some stuff off of her as well. And maybe you guys, she's dope, so maybe you guys can learn some stuff together. So stay tuned for that. I'll post, I'll confirm. I talked to her yesterday. She's down to do it. So I just got to put a date together for that. And then also I think next Saturday we're going to talk about like new investors. All right. Like straight novice beginning. I want to be an investor. How do I get in the game? Where do I start? I know the big thing is wholesale, and we're gonna go into all of that. I think next Saturday we're gonna talk about investors. Yes, we are. Let me write that down in my book. Maybe I can make some money. Bro, you got money, man. Cut it out, bro. Cut it out. You could buy a house now. You buy a house now, man. You just gotta get the right team around you, bro. We'll get it done. We'll get it done. We've helped so many clients, from the beginning, like from building their credit. I hate using credit repair. It's annoying. But but rebuilding their credit, restructuring their credit, and also budgeting is crazy now. So we've helped a lot of clients come from 500 credit scores to 650s, 700s in order to be able to get qualified, and they now living in their homes, man. So if your credit score is low, don't feel bad, don't be ashamed, man. Reach out. We'll come up with a game plan and get you right and get you prepared and get you in your house. That's what we do. You see the number, you see my real estate number, 0799911 911. Whenever you have an emergency, you think of me. No, I'm just kidding. Wholesaling, my sweet spot. Okay, yeah, we'll talk about it. Have you done any deals yet? How far are you along in your wholesaling journey? Have you done any deals, and do you have any properties? I need those. Drew, what up, Drew? Good morning. Have you done any deals? I need properties right now. Oh, bro, yo, you play too much, man. So why you change your name, yo? Cut it out. You play too much. I couldn't see the picture. I just see the name. What up, Taji? But yeah, so yeah, we're gonna talk about all of that. Uh, we're gonna talk about all of that and on next Saturday morning. So I'm gonna try to do this Saturday morning. The goal was to do this Saturday morning, catch y'all while y'all still in y'all bed scrolling. Make the kids some cereal real quick, and we're just gonna go live, and then you're gonna enjoy the rest of your day. Also, yeah, also, we I'm gonna build off of this, man. We're gonna do this every Saturday morning. Every Saturday morning. I'm gonna be committed and I'm gonna do this every Saturday morning. I don't care what I got. I got showings later today. I don't care. I'm gonna do it every Saturday morning. Open houses. I'm going to check out some open houses today. You can go to open houses just to go. That's why it's called open. So go check out some open houses. I believe there's a nice property in East Haven. Let me see if I can pull it up. I know my girl Lauren Friedman had an open house today. You go to an open house and go see what's out there. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you, once you get pre-approved and you start looking, the pictures don't do these properties no justice sometimes. Like, the photography is the professional photography is awesome. It's off the hook. And when you get to the property, sometimes it don't look the same. You know what I mean? Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But you got to get out there and see properties is basically what I'm trying to say. So open house is a great place to start. When you go to open house, they're gonna, have you sign in or whatever. If you go to open house, you want to tell them you're working with a real estate agent. Tell them Gerard Gibson is your agent, and he sent you to go check out this property. All right, you're welcome. Thank me later. I'm sorry. What else I got? I think that's it, man. Boy, Vaughn. Good morning, Vaughn. Why I can't see that? I can't see the comments. What am I missing? I'm getting comments from Facebook and YouTube. I can't see. I guess people are on my Instagram commenting too. But shout out to Vaughn. Let me go to Instagram and see who's up there. Based on your knowledge of what you may hear from insiders, can we anticipate another housing crash similar to 2008? I know it won't be as worse, but will prices decline? Where's the market trending for 2024 in the next 36 months? That's a good question. And I think that supply and demand all is gonna is gonna trump a lot of this stuff. You know what I mean? So I think the fact that supply is still low and the demand for housing is still extremely high, and I don't see that going away. I think if you put, you know, you put a couple 100,000 properties, and listen, I'm talking about the Connecticut market. I don't know, my cousin was actually looking for a property in Texas, and I was helping them out, and they have the opposite problem. They have too many properties, so it's already a buyer's market in Texas. But here in Connecticut, in this small area where we're, heavily populated, I don't see a crash. I think home prices might be steady, that maybe they'll come down a little bit. Um, but I don't foresee a crash. I do foresee um pre-foreclosures on the rise in the future. I do for let me see what Drew. So Drew is saying plus regulations are in place for it not to happen. Right. What happened in 2008 is probably never going to happen again. If there is a crash of some sort, it's definitely going to be from a different, a different cause, a different cause of effect. Again, so here in Connecticut, housing, you got rental prices going up. That's creating buyers. You have, uh, families growing. Is too many. It's too many reasons to buy. It's too many reasons to buy. So the demand is always, I think, is always going to be high. You're going to have to hit the market with, a couple thousand properties on the regular. You know what I mean? In order for the market to change here. So even with the interest rates up at 8%, back in November, December, the interest rates was up to 8%. And yes, it took a lot of people out of the market. It slowed down a lot of those buyers um, that were looking to buy that couldn't, obviously afford an 8% interest rate. And it also, but that even caused sellers to say, okay, I'm gonna hold on to my house. But I think as in 2024, they're expected to drop the rate at least 3 times, to my understanding. Drew, you in the banking world, Alonzo, you in the financial world. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, but they are expected to drop the rates at least 3 times. They've already dropped. So we went from an 8% rate in November to now. I talked to Jeanette Lucky at Connects the other day. She's doing, fives now, rates in the fives. Rates are down to like 6.5 across the board right now. So I think now we are getting ready to start to see sellers 3 to 4 times, Drew said. Drew's with Bank of America. Um, so I know if anybody know, he gotta know. It's his job. But yeah, so if they cut the rates, I think we're gonna see a lot of action in the market. My bad. Are we still live? Okay, yeah. So if they cut the rates, we're gonna see a lot of action in the market, I think. And I think the prices might go up a little bit, but we'll see what happens after 2024 is where I stand with it. That's my personal opinion. I can't tell you what's gonna happen in 2025, but 2024, I think we're gonna get like our last push of action before things start to settle down, maybe. Um, I don't think that anybody that purchased a home in the last 8 to 10 years are going to be in a bad situation as far as like losing equity and things like that. Here's my position on that. I'm glad we're having this discussion. Thank you, Saron. Um, Here's my position on that. It's always a good time to buy because you can't. I think I said this on my last live. Nobody can tell you when to live. Nobody can tell you, you know, you can't own something. I think it's always a good time to buy. I think selling, you have to time the market. In order to sell, in order to get the best return on your investment, it's all about timing. Okay. Now, just because, you buy a house here in Connecticut and you want to relocate or whatever, but let's say you can't get, the amount of money that you want or whatever, on your house. So, like maybe you're underwater, right? We're talking hypothetical. I don't think anybody's underwater in this market, but let's just say you're underwater. Let's say the market took a dive and you're underwater. You still have the option of renting the property out. You're never stuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you might, in your mind, you might be like, yo, I want to sell, I want to get rid of this house. But at the same time, what if it pays for itself? If it pays for itself and, can put money in your pocket at the same time, you can't be upset with that. I mean, I don't think you should, you know what I mean? But I get it. Sometimes, everybody's situation is different. Sometimes you might be in a situation where, okay, I gotta sell, but dag, I'm not gonna be able to clear this mortgage. Some weird set of circumstances. But again, I think selling, you have to time it. Buying, I think is always a good time to get in. And I said this before. I hate repeating this story, but it's the truth. If you ask your grandparents or your elders or somebody, older that bought a house, in New Haven or wherever, back in the early 80s or the 70s or whatever, a long time ago, we had a house that, that we grew up in, my grandfather owned it or whatever. So it's like, they bought the house, back in those days for $20,000, you know what I mean? But now it's worth almost $500,000. You see what I'm saying? Like, real estate always appreciates, which is why you have these hedge funds, which is why you have these investors. You got people just buying stuff up. Now the first time home buyer, what was the first time home buyer, is now purchasing multiple properties. You understand? So there's so many different reasons to buy. The demand is there. And I just think that real estate is going to always appreciate. If a crash happens, I think eventually it's going to go back up. So if this thing crashes tomorrow and the prices go down, all right, we might have to sit tight tomorrow. But next week, we're right back in action. Like, it is what it is. And if it does crash, what happens in the crash? Do we sit around and sulk and complain that it crashed? No, you get yourself ready and buy more properties, especially if it crashes. If it crashes, you buy more property. So, if it does, I don't think it's a horrible thing. I think we just got to sit still for a minute. I think buyers will be able to get in, but more buyers will be able to get in, more investors. I think if it crashes, you're gonna have to deal with investors, which is also gonna keep the prices going up. So I don't think the prices are gonna drop. There's too many reasons why not to. You know what I mean? Why the prices wouldn't, and basically reverse back the supply and demand. All right, it's 9:07. I'm gonna get up out of here. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me, man. It's my birthday weekend, my birthday tomorrow, so let the shenanigans begin. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm surprised I couldn't see the Instagram chat, so I got to figure out a way to do that, and it wouldn't let me watch the live from my phone. So thanks for sending me that message, Sarone. Next Saturday we'll be here again. We're gonna talk about transferring from or switching from a first-time home buyer to an investor. We're gonna talk about buying multiple properties and that mindset on what it looks like. We're gonna talk about everything for beginner investors next week. Alonzo says, happy birthday. Appreciate it, brother. So we'll talk soon. Y'all enjoy y'all day. Comment below, like, subscribe, follow me on YouTube. I might take this off of my Facebook, but it will be posted on YouTube. I did half this daggone program in the beginning with no microphone. Thank you, Taji, for that. So I'm gonna edit it and put it back out, repost it on my YouTube. All right. So I'll catch up with y'all later. Have a good day. Be intentional.
You're chilling in the rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my